So yesterday we're talking about this group of rich people who game their kids into colleges. And we also have been talking about Tucker Carlson and Bubba the Love Sponge and the fact that Media Matters is out to get him, and they're staging all kinds of, what do they call it, AstroTurf protests, and they're trying to get it as sponsors, and they're trying to get Carlson off the air because he's a conservative, not because, obviously, of anything he said on Bubba the Love Sponge when he was at MSNBC talking to his fellow liberals, I assume. But so they have this thing, and they bust these famous people, Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin, two actresses, and all these rich people for lying, cheating, scamming their kids into Ivy League and other top schools. How does the New York Times react to this? They write, "What does it take?" This is their headline, and this is not on the Knucklehead Row. This is the front page kind of analysis of the situation. "Admissions scandal is a harsh lesson in racial disparities." Now, let me read you a little bit of this, because I find this disgusting. I really do. I mean, this is like, remember after Ilhan Omar made her anti-Semitic remarks about Jews having too much money and too much power in politics, and the New York Times piece said, Ilhan Omar revives the debate. Do Jews have too much power? Does AIPAC have too much power and money in politics? They've become, because they followed their bad idea, their intersectionalism, their identity politics, they have become disgusting racists. There's more racism in the New York Times than any newspaper that doesn't have the name Storm in the title. All right. So here they start out with their, featurette idea of individual people. They studied into the wee hours. They agonized line by line over their personal essays. They took standardized tests 3, 4, 5 times to increase their scores. And last fall, after years of preparation and anxiety, the students at Ewan Marion Kaufman School, a predominantly black school in Kansas City, submitted their college applications hoping all their hard work would pay off. And the students at Kaufman saw their charter school as something of an equalizer. They have a good campus, all this stuff. But this week, the students there and at high schools across the country were reminded by the nation's largest admission scandal that there is nothing equal about the process. They had their sights set on some of the same schools that wealthy parents use bribes to get their children into. It's a harsh lesson in the limits of meritocracy. Meritocracy, which is giving things to the people who merit them. The limits of meritocracy. The case underscored the racial and economic disparities that plague access to higher education. In an effort to diversify their student bodies, universities are recruiting students of different racial and economic backgrounds, but those opportunities can come with a backlash for students of color who have found their qualifications questioned when they arrive at elite campuses. The case was dispiriting. Every word of this is a lie. It's a lie because of what they leave out. You all know you can do this. I mean, we all know that we can lie by leaving stuff out, just by the same way we can lie by telling untruths. What if they had gone to another school with white poor people? Never mind that. What if they'd gone to a school with wealthier people, like the school I sent my kid to, where we did the right thing, where my kid worked so hard to get into Yale, and I helped him out, with anything I could, the same way they're talking about, with any kind of tutoring. But we did it honestly. We all get cheated by crime. Everybody got cheated by crime. Why? Because it takes away from the merit system. It completely ruins the merit system, as affirmative action does, as keeping Asians out does, as thinking about people in terms of race does. They're just this. They have to go this way in order to defend their racist program, which is affirmative action. Affirmative action was one of the very first things that started my journey from liberalism to conservatism. I remember the Bakke case where affirmative action became legal, basically, the Supreme Court said. And I remember saying to my wife at the time, liberalism, by which I meant my side, is out of ideas. They are out of ideas. If they cannot assimilate people without giving them special privileges according to race, they are out of good ideas. Little did I know how right I was. Because what they're saying, they could have done this about anybody. People who, David Mamet, great playwright, has kind of become a conservative. He wrote a piece in one of the trades defending his friends, Felicity Huffman and William Macy, who were caught up in this thing, saying they're wonderful people, they're great parents. Like any parent, they would go to any lengths, and they did go to any lengths. And he said they should be given what he called the Texas verdict, which is you're guilty, but don't do it again. Because he said it's just the same as giving a building and getting your kid in that way. And the problem is that's not true. I respect him for standing up for his friends. We should all stand up for our pals. I respect him for saying they acted in a certain way and they shouldn't get a harsh punishment. I don't really think these people should get harsh punishments like jail time either. I don't think that jail is where you put people like this. So I'm fine with them getting a slap on the wrist and being shamed in front of people. You know, that's all fine. But it's not the same. It's not the same as giving a building. It is not the same as giving a building. You know, it may be on the spectrum. It's true that people who are wealthy get better deals than other people, than the rest of us, who, if you're that wealthy. But you know what? That's just part of life. That is part of life. It's not corrupt. It's very open, very honest. I mean, what this is a cheat. It is a cheat against everybody. And you know, that the New York Times can't see what they're doing, or that they can see and they don't care, is part of what liberalism does to you. It's part of what, I shouldn't say liberalism, it's part of what leftism does to you. It blinds you to your own nature and to your own corruption. And Chuck Todd, who I attack often because he's both on MSNBC ranting against conservatives and on NBC pretending he's a straightforward, unbiased reporter. And that I don't think is fair, and that's why I go after him. But his people got a great catch the other day. We were talking about Lori Loughlin, who got her YouTube star daughter into college by pretending she was an athlete when she wasn't, taking pictures of her with, I think, a crew machine when she wasn't on crew. And this is, by the way, a girl who basically said, I don't really care much about school. I just want to do my YouTube stuff. The guys at Chuck Todd's operation found an episode of Full House that deals with this very issue, and he kind of spliced it together into a short video. Look at this.
What's going on? I'm just checking out this application for Boughton Hall. I'm not gonna lie on this application.
You got to give the boys a little edge.
And you're right.
Uh-huh.
I'm their father.
Darn right.
If I don't lie for them, who will?
You must have done a great job on that application. They're interested in Nikki and Alex.
I may have, what's the word I'm looking for? I may have embellished. This is very important. You know, the fast track. Zoom. Zoom, 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 zoom.
Yeah, right. Okay, zoom. Zoom, 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 zoom. Look, Mrs. Jacobs, we have to be honest. Well, I have to be honest. We may have, well, he may have embellished, lied a bit on our application.
So as The Simpsons would say, Lori Loughlin learns a lesson about being honest on applications, only she didn't learn it because leftism gives you this veneer of being a decent person when you're not doing decent things. Here's Elizabeth Warren on Morning Joe, and this is a 10-second clip, but watch this and you will see two people who are clueless about who they are.
So as a parent, how much sympathy would you have for these parents who are embroiled in this alleged cheating scandal?
Zero.
So here's the woman who pretended to be Native American so she could take advantage of the anti-meritocratic affirmative action program that was in place throughout the country, saying she has zero sympathy for these people who lied to get their kids into college. And there is Mika pretending to be a journalist, thinking that she's basically the voice of conscience of America, who doesn't have any follow-up question. No follow-up question to that. She just goes right over it. What about you, Elizabeth? What about you, Senator? Nothing. Absolutely clueless, because leftism cloaks them in a feeling of virtue that has disguised the fact that they have become the party of racism, the party of illiberalism, the party of censorship, the party of hate. They are the party of hate. Like I said, the hateful people on the right get banished. They get thrown out. We throw them out. I mean, where is Milo Yiannopoulos today? You know, everybody tolerated him. I thought he was kind of funny, but I kept saying, I hope he figures out that he's saying the wrong thing. He's gone. You know, he becomes the alt-right because he can't get into the right. But in the left, if you are a racist, if you're a bigot, if you are a silencer of people,